to Laurie-Ann, I had a huge task ahead of me. I had to write and deliver my TEDx talk. I am Trupti Karshani, artist and a creative coach. It was really hard for me to distill my story and give a TEDx talk around how art helped me cure my perfectionism permanently. That's how I arrived at Laurie-Ann's doorstep. So Laurie-Ann actually came highly recommended to me by my business coach and a few other business friends that I have. I have to say that their recommendation was absolutely right, because within the first meeting, she got me completely relaxed around my TEDx talk and got me to start writing my TEDx talk. She looked through my draft and gave me really important feedback points that helped me polish my TEDx talk. So this was important for me to have Laurie-Ann as a coach to work with, because it really helped me to have a soundboard to discuss my ideas and to get feedback. It's now on YouTube, and I really enjoyed the time that I worked with Laurie-Ann.
Are you a coach, consultant, or a service-based professional looking to get positioned as the expert and leverage speaking opportunities? Then you are in the right place, because this is the podcast, Be in Demand, where we talk all about leveraging speaking opportunities as your best form of marketing, because speaking is the fastest way to grow your business. Today, we are going to be talking about calls to action, CTAs, as you might refer to them, and that is a big topic. I know summertime is coming and you're probably making your plans, vacations, what are you going to do with the kids, camps, etc. Maybe even just taking some downtime, taking some time off from your business, R&R, and really recharge. So maybe those are some of the things that are on your list and you're going to be planning the next couple of months. So that might mean you might not be listening to podcasts as much as you normally are, but I want you to know what's coming up on the Be in Demand show. That way, you make it a priority to listen to the show. Not only do I have some fantastic speaker breakthrough sessions that are coming, but the solo episodes, the episodes that get dropped earlier in the week on Mondays. So there's a couple of themes that I'm going to be sharing with you. July is going to be about podcasting. Podcasting as your stage. How to leverage the podcast platform. And if you do have a podcast, you're going to learn a lot. And if you don't have a podcast, but you've been thinking of having a podcast, then you are going to learn a ton as well. So make sure you tune into those episodes. As a matter of fact, July 16th, which is going to be the community call, the speaker circle, I'm actually bringing Steve Gamlin on. Him and I are going to be co-teaching that particular community call. And then you'll be able to ask both of us questions right then and there, and some networking. Steve and I created How to Be a Great Podcast Guest. I'll make sure that link is down below. So if you want to be a great podcast guest, there is so much to it. And this is what him and I dove into and share with you in this very low cost. We created this because we see so much out there. How do I pitch to be on podcasts? Your pitch is just a slice, a tiny thin slice of the pie. So anyway, you're going to learn more about that come July when we talk more about podcasting. And definitely check out the How to Be a Great Podcast. So what's coming up in August? August is going to be selling from the stage, whether that's the in-person stage or the virtual stage. But I'm going to be diving into the brain science that you need to understand. You know, what happens when a meeting planner or a conference organizer says you can't self-promote? So how do you promote your business without sounding like an infomercial? Because that's why they're asking you not to promote. It's because they've had other speakers who sound like an infomercial. So that's what's coming up in August. So let's dive into calls to action. What is a CTA? It is like the next step that you are asking your audience to take. That's what the call to action is. It's that next step for you to build a relationship with your audience. But for the audience, it's the next step after listening to your presentation. After sitting through your presentation and hearing all of the tips and advice, you can't possibly share everything that you know in the 30 to 55-minute presentation that you were giving. So it's that next step after the presentation that the audience member can actually take. So that's what a CTA is. And that's why it's so critically important to have a call to action. Now, the other reason why it's so critically important is that whoever hired you, whoever booked you, there's a problem that the audience is having, and they want to help their audience solve this. So think of professional trade associations. There's 225,000 of them right here in the United States. Those very specific audiences, they have a problem. The meeting planners, the conference organizers, they're trying to help their members solve that problem. They want you to not just show up as the college professor and dish out tons of information. We want to give like that homework assignment. Here's what to do next. So for anybody who's been afraid to share a CTA, I want you to know that it is part of your presentation. I believe that it is such a part of your presentation that it's a segment inside the in-demand signature speech methodology. That's how critical it is. You've got to have a call to action. You've got to have some sort of an assignment. Listen to my podcast. I always have something for you to do next. So think about it that way. What can you offer the audience to do next? Now, a lot of times there are mistakes that either newbie or rusty speakers make. Newbie speakers, you just don't know what to do. You're not sure where to put your CTA, how many CTAs to put. And if you're rusty, if you're not speaking as often as you would like, you feel like I got to put the training wheels back on the bike because I haven't been riding the bike as often. So what's the problem that I see? I see them offering way too many CTAs. So it's go follow me on this social media and that social media, and don't forget this one as well. Or it's sign up for this, that, and this other thing that I have for you as well. The laundry list. We don't want to give the audience a laundry list because if you give them too much to do, it's just like teaching them too much. They'll do nothing. If you overteach, they get overwhelmed and they're not sure what is the pathway through the woods. I'm not sure what to do, so I'm going to turn around and I'm not hiking today. I'm going back to my car and I'm driving back home. Versus here's the path. Here's that one call to action. Here's the one thing I want you to do. And this is why I always start with the end in mind. I always start with the goal. What is it you want the audience to do, think, believe differently after they're done hearing you speak? That's the goal. That could be your download. That could be whatever that call to action is. That could be you referring people to podcast episodes. That's the path that you want people to go on. But a little bit more about podcast episodes. If you have a podcast, I'll share a little bit more about that in a moment. So one call to action. Now, there are a couple of caveats just in case. I want you to be thinking of. As you are speaking to an audience, in-person, virtual, one call to action. However, if somebody speaks to you afterwards, so this might be more of the in-person, somebody comes up to you afterwards, they ask you a specific question. This is where my healthcare comes out. If you have a prescription for them, if you have something that you think that they should do, a download that you have, go listen to this particular episode, book a call with me. Then you can give this particular person another call to action. And if it is to book a call with you, you can either give them the link or better yet, and I have done this very successfully, pull out your phone. Just pull your phone out, ask them to pull their phone out also, and book that time. Watch them put it on their calendar, you put it on your calendar, and then let them know, I will do the formal booking when I get back to my office. So expect another email that will give you all of the booking information, like the Zoom link or the telephone number, whatever information you actually use when you are confirming an appointment with somebody. So what kind of CTAs can you have? Well, I think it depends on the situation. One, you do need your goal, like I already spoke about earlier. But there may be times where a meeting planner asks you or tells you you can't self-promote. And don't get mad at them. Get mad at the person who spoke at their organization and sounded like an infomercial. All they're trying to do is prevent having an infomercial, prevent their audience, their members sitting through an infomercial where they feel like they're being sold to and have to buy a certain XYZ, because then the members actually complain to the membership director or maybe to the president. So to make it so much easier, they'll just say no self-promotion. But there is a way for you to promote yourself. So my solution to this is to make it something free, something that's super easy. I mean, for the audience to sign up for a PDF or some sort of a download or to listen to an audio file that you have in exchange for giving you their email address. But as long as your entire presentation doesn't sound like an infomercial, you being able to sell something, and when I say sell something, I'm talking about converting the audience, one of those 3 C's. We want to convert the audience into getting on our email list. Now we're taking them from this audience, this professional trade group, this conference, and we are bringing them into our world, onto our email list, and sharing whatever that next step is with them, that call to action. So make it something free. Make it something that people don't feel like, do I really want this? Do I really need this? I always want to make it like a super no-brainer for them, that they just say, yes, I want this. I want to check this out. Again, we are inviting them. We are opening the door to our world, opening the door to our house. Come on in, folks. All you need to do is drop off your email address. Make it easy and fun for them. And I'll give you a couple of ideas on that. But if you are allowed to promote yourself, go right ahead. Figure out what that is, whether it's a free item or book a call, sign up for my program, download this, purchase that, like whatever it is. I've done really, really well with in-person events for my leadership days, selling my book in the back of the room. In the speaker world, we say everybody's got a 20 in their pocket. And I can tell you that I have sold my book to organizations that say no selling. And the reason why I was able to do this so successfully, and first off, like my book is one of my best business cards. No one's going to throw a book away, but a business card can get lost. It's kind of fun. You can just get the book, read the book, put it back on your desk, put it on your bookshelf, and it's there as a reference when somebody's like, what was the name of that speaker's? Oh God, I can't remember her name, but I bought her book. Goes through the bookcase. There it is. There's my email address. There's my phone number. There's all my contact information. For me, it has worked really, really well. So how did I do this with an organization? I'm going to let them remain anonymous because they are an international organization. I had split the profits with them because there's a very big passionate project that they have. And I would literally write a check for that organization. Right there at the end of my presentation, I'd be like, you know what? I sold 20 books. So they got half the profit from those 20 books. I just split it with them. It was great. And they loved it. So that's a win-win for me and for the organization, for everybody involved. And my contact information is in a book that is on somebody's bookshelf. So in short, if you're allowed to promote, go right ahead. Promote it. Just make sure, this is my advice for everybody, is always be outstanding on the stage. That is your number one priority, is to be outstanding on the stage. And that's why I have the in-demand signature speech methodology. Back to using your podcast, if you have a podcast. And don't worry, I have some ideas if you don't have a podcast, so don't tune out. So if you do have a podcast, make some specific episodes that are specifically going to be the call to action for specific presentations. What that means is you can't always dive into and teach everybody everything. But maybe on your own podcast, you can dive into a topic deeper. So in your presentation, the call to action, and this is sort of like a semi-call to action, because during your presentation, you might be sharing a particular tip. And hey, if you want to learn more, or if this is a problem that you're experiencing in your life or business, go listen to episode number and let them know what that is. And you will see people either writing that down or pulling out their phones, finding your podcast and downloading the episode right then and there. That's a nice little easy call to action. I'm saying a little mini call to action because that's okay. Because if you have a download that you want to share with people to get on your email list, bring them into your world, into your home, that's a different call to action. That's like your main call to action. So one main call to action. But if it's something like a podcast, go listen to this podcast episode to learn a little bit more about this particular topic. That's completely fine. That almost doesn't count as a call to action. Now, let's say you don't have your own podcast, but you're thinking about having a podcast. Don't forget, we're going to be talking more about this in July. If you don't have a podcast, has there been a podcast that you've been on where you did dive deep into a particular topic? If no, how about you pitch yourself to be on an appropriate podcast and dive deep into this particular solution, this particular topic? That way, until you have your own podcast, hint, 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 you can be sharing this episode from the stage. Now, one other way to use podcast episodes as your call to action is you could have a playlist. Like, hey, go listen to this episode on that talks about this particular topic, this episode that talks about this. That way, people are getting on your email list. They're getting this download. It happens to be all of these different episodes that you are recommending to them, whether it's your podcast or somebody else's podcast. So I hope that's clear. Now, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't tell you what I prefer to do and what I do myself. I like the free ones. In my leadership days, I was selling things in the back of the room. I had products, I had more workbooks. But nowadays, I like to just bring people into my world because one, speaking is a little scary for a lot of people. So I'm bringing them into my world. So it's always like something that's free. I just want to get them on the path. I want to get them into my world so that they can learn from me, whether it's listen to specific podcast episodes or they're on my email list and I am sharing with them that I'm a reformed painfully shy girl, which most people find hard to believe. But because I'm a reformed painfully shy girl, I resonate so much with a lot of people. They're like, oh my God, so am I. It's so hard to believe that you once upon a time, you used to be really shy. It's like, yes. I mean, I even shared just the other day on a speaker breakthrough session with somebody about like my first live stream, why it's still up there and how I'm able to teach myself, because this is what I did. I've taught myself to create these videos, create these podcast episodes. It didn't come naturally. It's a learned skill. So a lot of times I am just offering something free so that people can take that next step and we build that relationship. We get a little closer. They get to know me a little bit better. I get to know them a little bit better. Because in my email sequence, I start asking people questions and I'm the one who responds. So call to action is so critical. So just to summarize, it's one call to action, not a bunch of call to actions. It is, don't follow me on all these different social platforms. Just make it easy for people. One call to action. What is the one thing that you want the audience to do? And those mini CTAs that I said don't count are go listen to this podcast episode. You want to dive more into this? Go listen here. It's almost like that's like a little afterthought. And they're still coming into your world by listening to your podcast, but they're not on your email list. And that's what we're trying to get people to do. So to build that relationship with people, get them onto your email list. So figure out what that thing is. What is the one call to action? Okay, so I hope that you found this helpful and you've got some ideas on what you're going to do as a call to action for your audience. And you're very excited, I know you are, for July and August. July, where I'm going to be talking all about podcasting. and August selling from the stage. So get excited for those. Enjoy your summer vacations. Make your plans accordingly, but make sure you hit follow so that Apple automatically download these. Until next time, be in demand. And if you're tired of hearing crickets when you are speaking, when you're done speaking and there's no bookings for sales calls on your calendar, then I want to encourage you to book a call with me. The link is down below and it's chatwithla.com. Get on a call with me and let's talk about your business, how we can leverage speaking opportunities because it's going to position you as the expert. And with over 7,500 speaking opportunities that are happening every single day, wouldn't you like to be speaking a little bit more often? Then book a call and I will share with you the programs that I have that will help you start leveraging speaking opportunities to grow your business because speaking is the fastest way to grow your business. Are you tired of hearing crickets on social media? Wondering where to get seen by the right people? Or frustrated with the growth of your business? Then the Speaker Breakthrough Session is just for you. During this free 20-minute discovery call, I'll help you recognize where you're leaving money and opportunity on the table. You'll walk away with tips and a strategy to leverage speaking opportunities to get positioned as the expert, visible to the right people, and monetize your expertise. Book your call at speakandstandout.com/SBS for Speaker Breakthrough Session.